are just as many artists floating around these poems as there are poets and Enlightenment scientists. This one is called Sunset Rule, and it was sort of a study taken from a small watercolor in a book of Turner's paintings that I came upon. And the thing I liked, aside from this lovely watercolor, I loved the fact that the title of the painting was Sunset, Rouen, question mark? And I just was delighted by that. Perhaps one didn't recall the landscape that one was painting, but so I took that little question, I think, into the painting. Sunset Rouen. Just to the left and down from the central engagements, clock tower vaults of the long bow bridge. Sun and its correlate swashes come back to prime, spurred cathedral seating carmine protrudes up against it. The horses stand in their traces. Their wagon floats at the dark wharf fringe. Fused through the loads, watermarks, persons or poles, soldered spots that are shadows or breaks at the junctures of reeds. Scarcely at home in themselves, stationing there, forced to make reddish banks red, they have been horses. The fixing of them in grit grass, strangely so. Ramparts ruck over the underside slips. What are they waiting for? The edge of the picture unsettles, tricks itself forth, like the passage in which is restored your miniature boy, ritually combed and folded. A few fond strokes still to be harbored as horses. Little Gothic. We rode on a road through a wood. The wood itself rode along a river. Slow beige wave of mid-passage between regions of our union in the form of a forest of tulip trees. We rode on a road of seepages, bridged with brilliance. The sun took pause low down, what was almost gold. We rode across the roads for women and paths that were more like pressures, wild hearts, soldiers. A far little stage stung with figures, a box with a breakdown on. Just as the road moved off sequence, the forest wore out its own office, its own kind of craft. We rode through the wood, along the river, beyond the mineral over richness that leads off and inwardness. Now I'll move towards some cityscapes. I moved to New York City a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, permanently. I've been visiting back and forth. And it was not something that I ever thought I would, it was not a place that I ever thought I would live. I just sort of felt that it wasn't in the cards for me, but as circumstance would have it, I found myself living there. And I think for someone who has always turned to more rural and wild places, this big city always has a certain daunting and strange, almost alien quality to me. And I wondered how it was going to affect writing. But I found it to be every bit as fascinating and yielding as all the other places I've moved through. And so there are a few poems in here that come from that experience. Picturesque. Most acts, if they are acts, are not primary acts amid the taxes of other actions, are they? Something straying still beside the canal, bird or bird-like rodent in its grip before bidding dart at a burr bush sleeves it. Scum drift surface derives from its depth some slavish man shadows, contained, figured in and refigured in blocks, in pouches. And little guts appear in walls and asphalt, painted disturbing bursts, vascular shafts, rotational basal aigrettes like chamois insoles. And factions of trees, roof lots and bridge lots, the pull, the tack, and the load up of buildings on trees through the brackets of buildings, like ramparts through groves, fur-feathered groves digging furthermost arches or tears to reach and receive it. For a time, my husband and I had a studio that overlooked the Gowanus Canal. Anyone familiar with Brooklyn? It was amazing. Defunct canal that was used to service an industrial part of Brooklyn that has since declined somewhat. But in any case, it's still there, and it presents a really kind of amazing terrain to look out over this canal and the city built up around it. And we had our studio just on the brink of the canal. We looked across, and there was this little, I guess, sort of a vacant lot that had developed on a sort of a peninsular part of ground. There was another arm of the canal kind of going around it. And for a long time, I never saw anyone moving about there, but mysteriously these little trucks would appear. These little, I guess they were grocery trucks, and they had a logo on them that said Johnny Rotten's Produce. I loved that wonderful title, or that wonderful name, but situated in a place where you wonder, where's the produce? So it was, I just enjoyed that strangeness. This is called Johnny Rotten's Produce. At the backwater base, where staunch knotweed grows, Johnny Rotten sang a song of sweet regard, for he was rotten. What produce there can be roves far from here, in typic mounds bristling beyond the canal's steel blue. Oily damascenes edge the greenish reflections of an island even, one on which the structures float among trucks and pallet stacks, plaster urns and flower pots. Something off its stalks exudes, drops, like the least terns dropping to dense water, wedged, bowed in with the knotweed that quirks the rock water, along which junk trees flourish, droop-like clusters, stalked through the ribs of green-orange, and green converges on the windows of that train, a climb from the balking cement yard. The thrill dwells dormantly down the warped flutes of the canal, oh, absent abundance. There is green to rent, and to foreclose upon, and let tarnish from terraqueous canes. The sign says Johnny Rotten, and Preston's tools withdraws behind its scrim. I'll read the title poem. Micrographia. Not quite mosses, alike in their stints, frangible strands and branchings, crimps, crenulations. On a single stretch, you could pick out the patching with involved scrolling displays from the arched twigs. It gets warmer toward the bottom of the basin. Through the packets of pines, the whirring red pines, sulfurous spritz on the inside rim of the spring, implying slow growth. Nuthatches counter with distal control, inserting their beaks in the bark, something blunt, suspected in surfeits and pitwork, horsehair, gauzes, and tinsel streaked off from the points. The further you go, the compounds absorbed through the script, alike in divide and doubled-up stroke, rifle crack, fishbone root, windshield, tungsten rosette, cursed, wolf-lichen. another, in some ways, a nice connection that Marianne Moore has a poem called Camping Poem. And again, it's really the same tree, sort of by chance and good luck. But there is a Camperdown elm in Prospect Park in Brooklyn. And it's this wonderful tree that's not really a natural tree. It's because sort of accidental grafting or hybridization, but it's this wonderful umbrella-like version of an elm that sort of, I think, people end up wanting to revisit this tree because it's such a strange-looking tree and very propped up and kept up with a lot of birders and ways of trying to keep it alive. So it's quite amazing. Camperdown elm, the little-boned, complex underthing that is private, stemming toward a leaf, breaks open in such flukes, such ogres, such. Within its armature, are you here? Are you not with me? Somewhere in that enjambment, within a cave, within the brain, small glittering, incremented, about to spread outside itself, construed, in a sense there, too, a tree. The you. The neighbor's garden yew exceeds some closely plotted things. Hosta, roses, flagstones getting coarser in the baseline drill of rain, threads of exploration over an array, come of sprung knees. Squirrels riding in on branches to snag the bright arrows whipped into litigious crooks, green-black axial slats. Nature in this, as it were, expressing its thing. A plant grafted out of a pre-modern one. What can constrain it? The neighbor's dark dog pits in the splinter-rich dirt, much closer than it would appear, obscure, constructive of what might appear, as bits in a rastered tableau, systems of dense entrainment coming in close. Hydrangea clouds broken and toxic patrols the view, its slow-growing, tight-grained alignments so suited to javelins, ball spikes, and flexing their longbows equipped with taxis-tipped darts. The threads, or what could be run through the drone, blotted in blacks, the black wooded velvets of hills where they burn, right down the furze cracks, or skewed in the flashing around the tarred roof of the shedwork of rain into neighboring volumes. I'm a little bit of a voyeur. The habit of watching my neighbors' backyards. There's a figure who keeps appearing in this book. His name is Bill, and he was a neighbor who was scarcely emerged, very seldom, but it was quite an background to his backyard, so I'll go. Endemic. Smoke layering off the warehouse, and behind it the highway's swift river. Recession again through Bill's garden, always the midground, complex ribbed gardens. The fence grizzled with lichen, it rickets around the whole place. It flexes where the bulk of the branches move up against it. Hard little bittersweet foils spiraling in the bloom of lilac bush. Rain coming in, and then pigeons, and squirrels sprawling off along the fence top. And Bill coming in once, in a shirt to the strong past line. Once to take stock of the actual patches, innocent, turnips, tomatoes, cashmere, some trickling of ingredients. All that's beginning to show through the gray cages of the lilacs, through backtracking colleges and brambles, recipient and beach grass, between it, among it, forced under it, shocked and multiplying, certain guess there are probably a few interior physical landscapes. So I think of this next poem as my still life poem. It's called Korea. The graphs, drying and sharpening. Bits of the bloom cured the resolute tools to do the scoring. Things turned in on themselves, surfaces that were hidden inside image. Gesture, starlight, flame spike, gnarled shuttlecock, the botched brokerage. Linnaeus saw the sketched bud. The recondite continents came, two cliffs, opposite hinge, along which sugarbirds browsed for scared wheels, seeds snagged inside the pins and are borne off. The leather-lipped jackfire feels for stems underground, garnets shrill in the schist. Agadite flock operates up gutters like dense moss. Lumbering carts meet rarefied carts and suffer, each the other, otherwise curl on tears. Half the time, what was I thinking? Undoing through the cut around the rim. The disparate rock exposures extremely form, so I can't picture it myself at the foot of the bed, against the yellow wall, in the bowl of change, and ticket stubs, the grayish, hoodish train of pack antlers, rock antlers, wildly plush, ride from the sheep. Fidelity to the native colors, to the knitting shadows that feed the forward computations. Artisanal, so there's downfalling glitter and gelatin green in the olivine scruffs of the cosmos. The rock moves under its imprint, so I have to look away. To the rock, with its warp, with this. Fibrous escapes in the lungs of an updug roots. Is it wrong to put forth an encaustic pink along the door edge? You have to look at it like that, in the gaps that conclude the spruce cool. It's all very well and good to put yourself through that. Harsh mood. I'll read a poem called Synthetic Pigment. I guess it's another true poem. All along it, clustered thorns derange at stark intervals, sleeped to the ends and riding the wide trunk like ships spots around, or like the wreckages of ships. Wild, sweet locusts, tree of Adon. I feel it derive its negative codes, the night substance, having something to do with the obstinate hold which needs must advance, of course back to background, graphical squares, square pairings and principal stiffens out from the cocked fuselage, or standing one part from the underrun silver Torah through which the swamp curves flow like hooves from a statue of shallow digging. It must be something else. It must be. All along, incorporating the cloud flesh. Let's read a few more. It's a poem called Red-Legged Curate. A bird which I might actually see in the wild. Native, it seems, to no part of the North American continent, but some islets off the rugged sparks of the Aleutians and the loose and talented cliffs among dwarf yellow tips. Known at all by its silhouette, you can know such things by your silhouettes. The red-legged curate, glimpsed in isolate parts of Oregon, California, and Southern Nevada, said to go silent in winter, flitting through snow, the red-legged The red of the red-legged kittiwake of a kinship with black solders across the ice gaps, native in no real part of its obdurate course. The red-legged kittiwake grows silent, looking now still more by rips through the weed. Red-legged kittiwake, gone back and going toward noise of narrowing shipwrecks. Silver bones of the wrist and their riggings rotate. Pulp of the ladder loop shot in like owl and then soaked through the wool of the waistcoat. The frigate sprays back gray line, cuts through the ice skirt, pursuing such things to the net the nest. Probing, swollen with fog, lichen resist on the lowest spokes of the spruce. Red-legged kittiwake, native to the park, along with its spikes. Closes up where the bird has just been. 6. The legs retract and hand the tail near the crotch against the street rug. Bits of the barbs and breakage out in the wings, tipped into place. Leaf of the willow tipped into its branch, the tip but tip to its full. So where does it go when gone? The wake of the factory ships. Its chevrons compound steep bluffs and make itself into those ranks, like pistons or hooks. Its numbers are known to be in decline. Is red for the advent of sex, or something more primitive? The sea works its surface, notched or convex. It gives of its force and forms it instrument. It has at least shone. It is where they go in now, isn't it? Through the many parts. And I'll finish with the final poem that's called Excursion, and it's taken from a trip to Ireland, Nova Scotia. It was sort of Highland area at the top of the island. It's very interesting. Excursion. A plentiful land of pinkish rock, feldspars, we were told, fixed in with paler, blacker stone back in the middle of the land. We drove to see the ocean from that ground, more pendantly, with more striation, way out off the high old rocks, flushed and shimmered at the ends of their erosion. The ocean unlatches wavelets, wave bracelets, unlinking against the coastline, going so far beyond color, the slabland bedded with bugs, the edge charms catching up sun, lodged in the land thrown back from its heavens. A battle conflict of cut boulders, a shielded marches bristling. We were there. The forms fell in. Shelf solid and slightly pitched in the plain, the roseate broken off rocks, tool or near structural, stayed with the road's close curves. The things that were forms unparting themselves from their forms, the things that were thrown beneath form, all were the figurative, entrapped, mid-measured, cyclic, and strange. We came down, wound down, to the slim domed beach, slung with floating relations, rust, breeze rouge, slowly, selvages of stones, split through hair-off, and cusps, or worn over holes, notions, or shares.